Hi, everybody. Dana here. I'm just jumping on to answer a question that someone left via Ask Dana. And this question had a few different parts. So I didn't write down any notes, but what I remember was that they were wondering why they were having trouble raising their ferritin levels. So this person asked the question, if I was taking iron salts and I wasn't able to digest and absorb them, but my doctor wanted me to bring up my iron and ferritin levels, in particular ferritin levels, then why would it be that if I started taking a product, now she's taking the Ferritin Plus from Flora, um, that I am able to digest and absorb this form of iron. And I know that because now my other iron test numbers, like my all the other things she mentioned, transferrin and iron saturation and things like that, are looking good now. So why would my ferritin number not come up? And so let's address that part first. So your ferritin is your storage form of iron. And so your ferritin is often going to be depleted and be the first thing to come down before you see low iron on a blood test. And transferrin isn't really something that we're looking to raise, in the sense that that is a transport protein that enables you to absorb iron. So we're looking at that because if you don't have that, or if it's very low, there's no point in taking iron supplements because you won't be able to make use of that iron. But if that's up there, that's great because it means that you can still take more iron. You have room to take an even larger dose if that's okay with your doctor. Not from me. I'm a nutritionist. We only can recommend what's on the package. And if you need a very customized dose, then you would go to a licensed practitioner like a doctor or a pharmacist or a naturopath, someone like that. So if you were continuing to take this, eventually your ferritin numbers would go up because even though your ferritin drops first, it also comes up last. So ferritin being storage form of iron, you're always going to take iron out of storage, which storage is in your bone marrow and in your muscles and things like that. You're going to pull it out of those storage areas in order to make red blood cells and make hemoglobin, which is very important to transport oxygen and that kind of thing. So it will go down first in order to keep making those products. And eventually, when you run out of storage iron, now the iron in your system and your hemoglobin and those numbers will start to come down on a blood test. So when you start to supplement, since you're low in whatever you need to make hemoglobin and things like that, once you bring this new supplement on board, your body's going to take it and it's not going to put any in storage. It's just going to start to use it right away to make more hemoglobin, more red blood cells. And when you're good in those areas, like as high as your body thinks that you should be, now it'll start to put some of that into storage and you'll rebuild the ferritin stores in your bone marrow, in your muscles, so that you have that extra reserve of energy. So you have that extra reserve of mental energy so that if you ever go for a while without consuming a lot of iron rich foods, or if you have a very heavy period, then you're going to get through that pulling on your iron reserves, which is your ferritin. So it's not a concern that your iron has gone up and your ferritin levels have not. It's fine. It's normal. And you just need to keep supplementing. Now, to move on to the other part of the question, which was, could it have something to do with the fact that my vitamin D is low? Could it have something to do with the fact that I have heavy menstruation? Could it have something to do with the fact that there are some other things that I'm dealing with that may also be drawing on my iron, which, for example, fibroids or adenomyosis can certainly cause a need for more iron because these are very iron suckers. Like they're greedy for iron. So fibroids, unfortunately, like to cause us to have heavier periods, and they also are fed by, they're part of what is drawing on our circulation. So when you take a look at the big picture, yes, vitamin D being low in that can affect your ability to make use of iron. So there can be a relationship. If you have low vitamin D, you may end up low in iron. The other thing is that there are also situations where you may end up, if, for example, you weren't digesting, absorbing other forms of iron, and there's a bit of a digestive issue. If you had a digestive issue, this could even be a potential root cause, because a digestive issue could mean that you're not able to make use of and absorb vitamin D properly, and you're not able to activate it. And it could also be the reason that you have trouble bringing up iron level, and that could be connected to both, for example. And a gut issue could also be related to your ability to detoxify estrogen, which might be related to the other things. So that, looking at gut health is certainly something that I would do if it were me. Additionally, people who have hypothyroidism, often women have subclinical hypothyroidism. So it's not bad enough to get them diagnosed as being hypothyroid, but they are functionally hypothyroid. And often hypothyroidism, most of the time, it's Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which means that it's an autoimmune kind of hypothyroidism. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is that whenever you have a hypothyroid, you are very much likely to have low ferritin levels. And low ferritin levels can also affect your thyroid. And hypothyroidism is connected to gut problems, especially low vitamin D is connected to Hashimoto's. And gut issues from the thyroid is part of what can lead to the low vitamin D, because it's hard to activate the vitamin D. So you can see that there's a lot of connections here. And oftentimes people that have, one of these things may have another one of these things. So seriously improving your vitamin D levels and seriously supporting your gut is definitely something that I would do, because vitamin D being low is also linked to cases of fibroids, and it's also linked to cases of adenomyosis and other similar issues to that. And your ability to just regulate your periods as well, like the heaviness of them, and normalize your hormone function and regulate your hormones, is dependent on vitamin D, because vitamin D is essentially more than a vitamin, it's a hormone. So I would definitely, definitely do something about your vitamin D levels. Do what you need to do to bring that level up into a really good place, just like you're working to bring your ferritin up into a really good place. And you'll probably see that there is a reciprocal effect of working on one of these things. It also helps the other of these things. And I would definitely work on my gut health. And you don't have to assume that there's anything wrong with your thyroid, but you might want to look at what are the nutrients that support a healthy thyroid, and what are the things that would support all of these systems overall, and think about those types of things that you can do. So good sleep, good breathing, addressing any kind of stress, time in nature, and nutrients, a very nutrient dense diet, are all going to be good for all of these issues. So those are all things that I would consider for sure. So I hope that that helps you. Thank you for asking me the question. If you ever need to get a direct answer from me, be sure to leave your contact information along with your Ask Dana. I hope that that answered your question in full. If you have any more questions, just get back to me and let me know. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.